Did you know that right now, at this exact moment, you are completely surrounded by fossil fuels? Not just in your car and not just in electricity, but in almost everything that makes your life possible. The phone in your hand, the clothes on your body, the food in your kitchen, the heat in your home during the winter, and the cool air you rely on during hot summer days. Even the electricity powering your lights, your fridge, your internet, your data centers, and your devices often comes from fossil fuels. Take a moment and look around you. Almost everything you see exists because fossil fuels made it possible. And yet, we are constantly told a very simple story, that fossil fuels are the problem. But what if that story is incomplete? Because here is the part most people never hear. Fossil fuels are not just energy, they are the foundation of modern civilization. Today, over 80% of the world's energy still comes from coal, oil, and natural gas. After decades of innovation, global investment, and policy efforts, humanity still depends on them more than any other energy source. Not because we lack ideas, but because fossil fuels solve problems at a scale few alternatives can match. They generate electricity for billions of people. They provide industrial heat for manufacturing steel, cement, and chemicals. They power transportation systems that move people and goods across continents. They keep homes warm in winter and cool in the summer. They allow us to cook safely and efficiently. They are deeply embedded in every layer of modern life. Now here is something even more surprising. Fossil fuels are used to create more than 70,000 everyday products. Not just energy. They also supply thousands of products, everything from plastics and clothing to fertilizers, cosmetics, pharmaceuticals, and electronics. Your smartphone is not just powered by electricity. It is made from fossil fuels. The casing, the wiring insulation, the adhesives, the synthetic materials, all of it. Even the packaging it arrived in traces back to fossil fuel-based inputs. But here is where the story becomes much more powerful. Because the real story is not just about what things are made of. It is about how they get to you. Let's take something simple, your phone, and follow its journey. It begins in the ground. Metals are mined using massive machines powered by diesel. Oil is extracted and refined into petrochemicals. Natural gas is processed into feedstocks for fertilizers and materials. These raw materials are transported across long distances by trucks, trains, and ships powered by fossil fuels. They arrive at industrial facilities. Inside these factories, extreme heat is required. Heat intense enough to melt metals, produce cement, and manufacture chemicals. That heat often comes from fossil fuels. Electricity powers the machines, the robotics, the assembly lines. That electricity often comes from fossil fuels. Parts are produced in different regions of the world. Microchips in one country, casings in another, batteries somewhere else. These parts are then shipped again, across oceans, through ports, across rail networks, along highways, into distribution centers, sorted, packaged, and delivered to your door. This is a global supply chain, and it is not just a system of movement, it is a system of continuous energy flow. At every step, energy is required. Extraction, processing, manufacturing, transport, storage, delivery. And today, the majority of that energy comes from fossil fuels. Fossil fuels are not just part of the supply chain, they are the lifeblood of the supply chain. Now imagine removing that energy source. No diesel for trucks, no fuel for ships, no jet fuel for planes, no reliable electricity for factories, no industrial heat for production. The flow stops, not slowly, abruptly. Factories shut down, Transport halts. Shelves empty. Systems stall. This is not theoretical. This is what happens when energy systems fail. Now bring it back to your daily life. When you wake up in the morning and turn on a light, that electricity often comes from fossil fuels. When you make breakfast, the energy used to cook your food often comes from fossil fuels. When you adjust your thermostat in winter, fossil fuels are often keeping your home warm. When you rely on air conditioning in extreme heat, fossil fuels are often helping keep you safe and comfortable. These are not luxuries. For many people, these are essential to daily living. Now consider healthcare. Hospitals are among the most energy-dependent systems in society. They require constant, reliable power. They rely on plastics derived from fossil fuels. They depend on pharmaceuticals produced using petrochemicals. They require sterile environments supported by energy-intensive systems. Remove fossil fuels, and modern healthcare systems begin to fail. Now consider food. Modern agriculture is deeply dependent on fossil fuels. Machinery powered by diesel, fertilizers produced from natural gas, irrigation systems powered by electricity, transportation systems delivering food globally. Every year, roughly 150 million metric tons of ammonia are produced, primarily to create fertilizers that feed billions of people. Without that system, global food production declines dramatically. Food becomes scarce, prices rise, hunger spreads. Fossil fuels did not just improve food production, they made it possible at the scale we rely on today. Now let's go even deeper. Fossil fuels are dominant because of energy density. A small amount of fuel contains a large amount of usable energy. That is why airplanes can cross oceans. That is why cargo ships can carry thousands of containers. That is why heavy industry can operate continuously. Energy density matters. Reliability matters. Scalability matters. Now compare that to the challenges of building alternative systems. Renewable energy is growing. It plays an important role, but it also faces real constraints. Intermittency, storage limitations, material requirements, infrastructure costs. These are engineering challenges that require time, investment, and innovation. And importantly, many of these solutions still depend on fossil fuels during their development and deployment. This is not a contradiction. It is a reflection of how deeply fossil fuels are embedded in our systems. Now, consider this analogy. Modern civilization is like a massive skyscraper. Fossil fuels are the foundation. You can renovate the upper floors, you can improve efficiency, you can add new technologies. But if you weaken or ignore the foundation, the entire structure becomes unstable. And when that reality is ignored, consequences follow. Energy prices rise, supply chains become fragile, economic pressure increases, and the people most affected are often those with the least resilience. For billions of people around the world, energy is not an abstract issue. It is survival. It is access to clean water. It is access to food. It is access to health care. It is the difference between poverty and opportunity. Now, to be clear, fossil fuels are not perfect. They come with real environmental and economic trade-offs. But so does every energy system. There is no system without cost. The real question is not whether fossil fuels are good or bad. The real question is whether we fully understand what they enable. Because when systems are this complex, oversimplification becomes dangerous. And right now, fossil fuels remain the backbone of the systems that support modern life. They power the supply chains. They sustain industries. They enable global connectivity. They support billions of lives. So the next time you hear a simple narrative about energy, pause. Look around you. Ask yourself how everything you see got there. Because behind almost every object, every service, and every convenience in your life, there is an invisible system powered largely by fossil fuels. And understanding that reality is the first step toward having a meaningful conversation about the future. Because when it comes to energy, reality does not negotiate. Reality always wins. If this video gave you a clearer way to think about energy, then you already see something most people don't. Because the world is changing fast. Understanding what's really happening with climate and energy policies has never been more important. This channel is about cutting through the noise. No hype, no extremes. Just clear, grounded thinking about energy, climate, and the systems that shape our lives. If you value that kind of perspective, welcome aboard. Please take a moment to like and subscribe if this helped you see things differently. Please share and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next. Because the next decade of energy decisions will shape everything. So the more we get people to understand the reality, the better for us all. See you in the next one, and stay well.